Hello from the Fox's Den. Yes. What are we doing today? Today it's Watercolor Wednesday on the Fox's Den. And yes, got a little friendly text from a friend. And we're gonna see if we can't imitate what we see here. Wait 1 second. I think this needs to come up just a little bit, maybe. Not so dark. We'll see if that helps any. All right. Well, I was sitting here earlier. Normally, I like to do a video about watercolor on Wednesdays in the Fox's Den because that's something that we're trying to learn about watercolors. And someone's like, I thought you were going live, and I was like, well, hey, how are you? Yes, the first one on the scene. But yes, she was like, I thought you were going live with Watercolor Wednesday. And sometimes I get so caught up in doing my videos, hey Jay Carey, that I'm like, Crystal, you know you're supposed to be posting it, right? And I was like, you know what? Let me just go live. So let me just show you guys what I was working on earlier. Um, Let me see. Let me flip. Here I go. So this is my attempt, okay, to try to match. This is well, I know you can tell this what I did. It's all outside the lines and everything. But yes, this is me trying to match this using watercolors. Yes, I hope everyone's having an excellent day, an excellent evening. But yes, and it's so funny because I was about to just throw this straight in the trash, and she was just like, "You better not do that." So I'm not gonna do that. But what I am gonna do is, I had started trying it again because on this one right here, I used watercolor pencils. I used my Crayola watercolor pencils and Castle Art pencils. Where are they? So I was using my Castle Art pencils and my watercolor pencils from Crayola when I did this one right here. But this is so funny. I noticed this about myself. Whenever I go try to do something that I've never done before, I start with a tool that I've never used in that capacity before. I didn't even have those swatched. I should have just used my Viva. Um oh, thank you, Jake here. You're always so encouraging. Oh my God. Thank God for people like you. Um, but I was like, you know what, Crystal? Use your Vivas and start over. So this was just another copy of the page I had made. So let me get back to um the actual, yeah, this sunflower. First of all, I love coloring sunflowers. I just do. Of course, I never color them yellow. I put my own spin on them. But I have this book in this is like the 8 by 10, and I have it in the smaller version. Basically, I mean, it names the flowers. Oh, look at that. I turned right to the page. It ain't nobody but God. Um, And the goal is for you to duplicate it over here. You know what I'm saying? And this thing was on the shelf. I'm like, I'm never using that. And look at me now. I'm using it. So my goal is to make this picture right here, thank you, look as close as possible to this one over here. That's the goal. Okay. So let me look at, and and I have my swatches. I swatched out my colors. So let me look through so this is the original. That chrome yellow looks amazing. It does. That chrome yellow looks amazing for that. I just want to show you guys the process that I go through. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to use the original one because as I look at it, I'm like, we have yellow here. We have this yellow trig, whatever, burnt umber, and we do have some greens. So if we focus on just one color sheet um, packet, then we could probably make this work. We can do this. We can do this. We can. So the one thing that I learned from doing it the first time is don't put so much color down initially. I had put down way too much color initially. Um, yeah, don't put too much color down initially. So I'm gonna put this right here. I guess you guys can see what I'm trying to imitate. And we're gonna see if we can do this. One thing that I've come to notice is that I really love the round brushes. I love them with the tip. I remember when I first started, I was using these flat. I don't know why I was using them. I was using the flat. That's you sound just like Deborah. That's right. That's right. That's what Dad said. Don't throw it away. And it was so funny because I was gonna put on there my first attempt because that was my first attempt at trying to imitate that. And it's like you're right. It'll help me to see my growth. It will. So let me Okay, so I have my little cup, my brush, and this thing is so nice because you can just rest your brush across it. And I always have, a napkin, Bounty, the quicker picker upper, and then I always have my palette. Also, I'm gonna use my little baby palette. This has acrylic paint on it. I should have washed it off immediately, but that ain't what I do. Okay, let me just admit it. Let me just be honest. That's not what I do. All right. So let me just wipe it off to make sure because I've been coloring a lot of different things using my watercolors to help me color pages faster. That's how I was able to complete so many Kirby pages in such a short period of time because I've never done that before um, using watercolors. All right, so I'm gonna take my chrome. Deb, this for you because you was like, excuse me, I'm waiting. Wait. I said I was gonna go live. My bad. All right, so I'm looking at this picture and I'm just gonna lay down yellow first. Okay. I'm just gonna lay down yellow. I'm not even gonna look at the detail. I'm just gonna focus on this flower. Okay. I'm just gonna focus on this flower. I notice that if I'm doing something for the first time, I need to just kind of take it in bits. Like don't try to like put everything down yellow because if I make any mishaps or you know I won't say mistakes. If I have any severe learning moments, it's a learning. Well, my cousin said it's a learning something. No, she says this is a teaching moment. That's what she says. I love that. If I have any severe teaching moments when I'm doing the first one, then I wouldn't have already started on the other ones. Okay. So we're laying down this yellow and it's looking really lemony, but I'm gonna let that go. It's looking like it needs to have a little bit of brown with it. But again, this is just the first layer. And I purposely I made copies of this onto actual like watercolor paper because when you really need to wait for it to dry in between each layer because that gives you a better effect. But I'm not trying to be on here all night. Um, yeah, I'm like, Chris, you're supposed to be posting videos. I'm so busy having fun coloring. Like, oh, that's right. All right. So this color, I'm gonna say that this color is it looks like a reddish brown, but we're just gonna give it I said we were gonna work within our palette. So I'm just gonna give it that brown. Okay, so I'm gonna use burnt sienna. Let's look at it, okay? So I think burnt sienna would go well as opposed to that one. I think this one would look better for the areas right there. I think it was. It's looking a little dark. And then I'm like, okay, so what am I doing? I'm gonna keep on trucking. Okay, so burnt sienna. Okay, I'm moving too fast. I can see myself. Let me go a little bit slower so I don't give y'all a headache. Okay. Oh, it's amazing how like once you lay it down. Okay, so at the top, right here in the middle, they're adding a little bit of color right in here, it looks like. Now on the picture, it almost looks like it curves in, like it creates a little cup look once you add this accent to it. We're gonna see. Hmm. I keep going. Trust the process. Now, one thing, because especially like, because I color with a lot of times I use colored pencils when I'm coloring my different pages and stuff. And a lot of times you want to blend, you want to blend your colors together. But if I blend this, especially if I go up with it, then it's going to go all the way up the petal. And that's not what I want. I don't want it to go all the way up the petal. But let me just kind of bring it down. Let me just add a little bit of water to it. Kind of bring it down some. Mm. I feel like this could be a little bit darker. I'm going to add some, that burnt. Okay, so I used the burnt sienna. I'm going to use burnt umber. I'm going to use burnt umber. I think that'll be better because it's looking a little orangey to me. I hope y'all can see that. I don't feel like the light is acting right for some reason. Um, do I normally have the light higher? See, I haven't gone live at night in so long. Oh my God, I don't even know what I'm doing. What happened to muscle memory of the brain? Okay. Um, it's set up for the morning time. All right, here we go. Here we go, Fox. Here we go. Okay, so burnt umber. Here we go. Okay, just a little bit. All right, y'all. Y'all know I gotta focus. Okay. I normally talk, but let me see. Don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Trust the process. Trust the process. I have to resist the urge to be like, I'm okay. I'm done. I may not be finished, but I'm done. I'm done. Okay. It look like soy sauce. It looks just like soy sauce to me. Looks like soy sauce. Okay, we're gonna keep on going. Okay, so in the middle, it's like a that's like a mint green, greenish tan. It's not really like a green. Okay, so for that, I'm gonna use a light. I'm gonna use this. I'm just gonna use light green. Okay, I ain't gonna bust out a whole bunch of other paints and stuff because ain't no need in getting no headache. All right, here we go. Let's do this light green on here. I will say this. I find watercolor, like watercoloring, painting, whatever, in my coloring books, I find it even more relaxing. I mean, I do because first of all, the speed in which I don't know, it's like instant gratification, in regards to like how quickly you can complete a page or how much color you can lay down. And I like that. I feel successful. Who don't want to feel successful immediately? So I do enjoy that. I think what I've done is I've copied the page on the wrong side of the watercolor paper. But what can we do? Let me see what that looks like. I don't like the way that looks. Let's just I'm gonna add this chrome yellow to it. If I don't like the way this look, I'm gonna switch up the paper. Yeah, this got to be the wrong side. Got to be. It has to be the wrong side of the paper. It looks too horrible for it not to be, in my opinion. Now all the colors are laying down, but I don't like the way it's displaying out. Okay, so this is really quickly. This is why I always make several copies of things. One, two. Yeah, I don't. Here we go. Here we go. So I think what I've done is I've made, this is the copy that came out on the wrong side of the watercolor paper, but I also made a copy of it on some really good coarse cardstock paper. And I might be moving a little bit too fast. So we're going to try it out on the cardstock paper because I definitely do not like, I don't like the way that looks. Um, yeah, I don't like it. So let me try again. Try again. All right. Try again. And I think this time I am going to mix. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna mix. I am going to mix yellow. I'm gonna mix this yellow, and I'm gonna mix the yellow, what are the brownish yellow, because that yellow was screaming, lemonade, hot summer in Atlanta. So we are going to mix the yellow with the yellow OCHRE. That's what we're going to do. I think I'm going to feel better about, okay, let me rinse the brush off to make sure it's really good and rinsed off. There we go. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. That's better already. To me, it is. Okay. So what I did was I mixed the actual chrome yellow and the yellow OCHRE, and I like that better. The other yellow was just way too yellow to me. Um, yeah, I like that. So, I've got a couple of books from Ollie's that talk about, watercolor painting. Of course, and this is just I am, when I say beginner, I mean, I do have my Crayola watercolor paints in here that my kid had when they were in elementary school. And mind you, all my children are grown. Okay. Some of them have children themselves. Okay. But I kept them. And, it talks about sometimes if you don't see, like the correct hue or tint of the color, just add another color in there just to see what you will get. And this is better. This is better to me. Um, I think it looks better. Also, I could tell I had made a copy of the page on the wrong side of the watercolor paper. Mistakes will happen. But I had this cardstock paper, which is absorbing, the watercolor paint quickly. But yes, I like that. Let me see. Here we go. Let me just do a little quick compare. Yeah, I like that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. That is a start. Yeah, that's way better. That was way too yellow. So sometimes what you have to do is, I mean, as a beginner, even if you don't see the color, anything close to it, just mix a couple of colors together, or two colors together, not a couple, because we don't want like a muddy mess. And maybe it'll give you the color that you desire. So let me go with a darker color. Let me go with a darker color. All right. I feel a little successful. That's why sometimes I like to practice before I get, but then I practice so much, I'm like, I ain't put no videos out this week. But guess what? I've been coloring a whole bunch of pages. Oh, look at that. I like the way it's moving up. Maybe I probably should have used a smaller brush. Hmm. So maybe I just need to tap it on there. Let me see. Let me try this. Let me try. Let's see if that looks better. Okay, so before, like I was doing brush strokes, but I didn't like the fact that it was going so far up the petal. Now I'm just taking the paint and I'm just kind of tapping it. I'm just tapping it and I like that better. Look at that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot better when I'm comparing it to what I'm seeing over here. Look at that. Ooh, if that don't look like soy sauce, I don't know what does. So let me see if I can fix that. Let me see if I can fix it. How would I fix that? Let me just try to take it up. We're gonna act like that is a shadow or it's the shadow area. Um, I'm not really sure what they call it, but it's gonna be the darker area on the flower. Okay, we're gonna mix our yellow and our yellowish brown together because this is looking like a hot mess to me. So I'm just gonna act like there's a shadow being cast on this side of the flower. Try to work that out. One thing, and I'm gonna include gouache on this. Watercolor, once it to me, once it gets settled in the nooks and crannies, with my experience, it's not as easy to move to me. And that's just to me. Okay, I'm not gonna be here all night. All right, so let me find the all right. I went out and I came back. Let's see what happens. I wonder is there a storm outside? It might be storming. Okay. All right, so let me find a green to place in the center. Let me take that sap green. I saw a sap green. Let's see. Okay, I think that'll be a lot better. This is like a mossy green. Let me try to make it lighter. Oh, that's a great first coat. It's very light, very light. Let me tell y'all something. But you know what? This is the second time you've ever tried this, Crystal. So please don't crash out, boo. Don't crash. Don't do it. Don't do it, Foxy. Don't crash out. It's the second time you've ever done it in your life. So, yeah, don't crash out. Okay. All right. Okay? So behind it is something that's a little bit darker. There we go. I don't like how, but that's okay. All right. Let me just finish the leaves on here. Let me just add some color to the leaves. I will say this, I have been enjoying this a lot. I have been enjoying this a lot. I have been. So what I'm noticing is, you know, in a book like this, because I don't know my watercolors as much as I know my colored pencils, it's good to know your colors before you get started, or just to give yourself, like a lot of mercy and grace if they don't match exactly in the beginning. And I think that mercy and grace thing is what it is. It's what's needed. I do. Okay. This- Uh, these are the Viva watercolor paints that I'm using, watercolor sheets. They are. I did a video on them. I swatched them out. So I just wanted to use them to see if I could imitate these flowers like this. So I think just based on this flower right here, the first flower that I did on the other page, I used my watercolor pencils for that. And I really hadn't talked about um, watercolor pencils yet, a lot on Watercolor Wednesday, but I used my watercolor pencils on that particular flower. And of course, I'm going to feel more comfortable, using that because I'm more familiar with those colors. But in doing this, as long as I'm getting as close as possible, if it looks like a flower, then I need to be happy. All right, so let me use this sap green. There we go. On the leaf. Ooh, I love the way that's right. Oh my God. Okay. So I will say this, I do a lot of cleanup afterwards, when I use watercolor, because I'm still working on staying inside the lines. And that would just come with using a smaller brush. And I do have smaller size brushes, but sometimes I get so comfortable with using a brush that's in my hand. I don't like to switch it up, but I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna have to switch it up. So shout out to the people that just watercolor right out of, they don't watercolor and, over a picture. They just paint their own flowers. That's awesome. So, but once this dries, yes, once it dries, you can go back in and clean it up and then add more detailing to it. And it's so quick. It goes so much quicker than just trying to, color the whole thing with your colored pencils. It does. So again, this is the flowers book. I normally like to beat to a rhythm of my own drum, but I thought it would be a challenge for me to try to match, the picture, that's beside it. I thought it would just be a good exercise in, mixing my watercolor paints a little bit. Then of course I brought in my my pencils as well. Just something different. Just something different. And I'm liking it. I'm like, again, these are the Viva watercolor sheets that I'm using. And on the first flower I showed you in the very beginning, I used my Castle Art watercolor pencils and my Crayola watercolor pencils. Now, let me tell you this. The Crayola watercolor pencils, I like them better than the Castle Art. I like the way they feel smoother when you lay them down. Yeah, Crayola ain't playing with y'all. Just want to let y'all know. They sending out memos talking about all y'all little professional art, so-called paint people. We've been in the game since, we was in kindergarten. So Crayola's not playing. And I'm not mad at them. I'm buying whatever it is they have. I am, because I have such a great time with it. So now I'm just gonna move on to the other flower. Now that I see all the different things that I've done on this flower, I'm just gonna move on to the other flower. But yes, I just wanted to because I'm like, Crystal, okay, so you've been all day, not all day, but just unwinding, doing this, but you're supposed to be posting a video about it. So shout out to my subscriber Deb for popping my collar. I love it. I love it. Sometimes I get caught up, but I just wanted to come on to show you guys what I've been doing. Um, for this watercolor Wednesday, I'm just trying to imitate what I see on the other side of the page. I did actually, make copies of the flower before I started painting it. I used some cardstock and I also used some actual watercolor paper. Now, I do like the way this one looks better than this one. I'm not liking the way that this brown is blending. So I'm not even going to do it on that one because I don't like the way it looks. I might go in afterward and do it with a pencil, but I don't like the way that looks. Oh, but you know what? But see, it's not dry enough for me to do that. I was gonna say, let me show you. Let me add it in with my watercolor pencil, but the paper isn't dry enough for me to do that yet. I don't know if you can tell this one is getting a lot, it's a lot, a lot more yellow. But let me just add a little bit of this brown to it. Yes. I can't wait to try a blue one. What's that? That's my 30 minutes you need to get on off of here. All right. So this is Crystal Foxy Colors in the Fox's Den. Guys, I am just unwinding and coloring in my coloring books with my watercolor paints. It's super fun. Instant gratification because it's even faster than and I love me some alcohol markers, don't get me wrong, but to me it's even faster than alcohol markers, and that's saying a lot. It really is. That is saying a lot. There we go. Awesome sauce. So let me tell you something. There is a way to use any medium in your coloring books. There is. I like the way these two look. This one right here, I'm so glad I didn't start everything at the same time. I like the way these two look. I should have did this one over there. It's like dead center and ugly. And not as attractive as the other ones. This one right here, this was a teaching moment. So yeah, and I learned what I needed to learn. Okay. All right, I just wanted to pop on really quickly to show you what I was working on for Watercolor Wednesday. I used the Viva color sheets for this particular flower. I did right here. What did we do right here? This one right here. I like these ones better. I'm not really quite understanding how I'm supposed to lay down the darker part of the flower. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna go in probably like with a marker or even with a colored pencil when this gets dry is what I'm gonna do. And add that darker color to it. I like the way the leaves, let me just add a little bit more color to the leaves. The color that I was using on the leaves is like a sap. It's a sap green. It's almost like a mossy color, and I'm liking that. So when I'm in my coloring books, I'll lay this down as the first layer and then go back in and just add some quick detailing to it, some highlights, maybe some white pencil, and then just move on to the next item to be colored. And it actually, I'm quite sure as I mature in this, um, there's a lot more that I'm going to learn to be able to do. I know in one picture, based on, how the items were on the page, I was able to do the contrasting right there on the page. I think I showed that picture when I was showing my colored pages for the hashtags for the week. But I love that when I can add my contrasting right on the page using my watercolor paints. I love that. I love being able to do that. I do. Okay. Feeling better about this. Feeling better. All right. So we're going to act like that one in the middle is not there. Let me see. How could I don't mess with it? Because this one is, um, it's a good example of it. This is a teaching moment. That one right there is a teaching moment. The teaching moment. Okay. I still need to get the concept of adding that darker color in. So this particular flower right here, I use my Viva watercolor sheets. Let me move it over here so I can show you the other page I did earlier. Do it right. All right. So this page right here, I use my Crayola watercolor pencils and my Castle Art watercolor pencils on this particular one. Trying to make it like this one. My biggest struggle on this one is I wish the leaves looked a little bit more frostier, meaning that probably if I add a little bit more white pencil to it, maybe that can make it look, because that looks more like a minty green. This is still a little bit too greenish for me. Um, I was having a hard time, but again, it was your first time, Chris. Give yourself a break. Adding like the detailing. of the flowers on the edges using the watercolor. So I just added a little bit of brown on top of it. But let me tell you something, this was very relaxing to do. Very relaxing to do. Stressful days. But this was very relaxing to do. But yes. So this book is called Flowers. Awesome book. It was called Beautiful Flowers Coloring Book. I love to color flowers. I have a small version of it. Let me get it over here. Yes. I have a small version of the book as well. I love getting gifts. You never know. You get dupes, but you keep them because one is large and one is small. And the whole concept is just you see this over here, make it happen over here. So for this smaller book, I'm definitely going to use like my pencils for the smaller one. All right. This is Crystal the Foxy Colorist coming to you live from the Fox's Den for Watercolor Wednesdays. Always the beginner version in the Fox's Den. We are learning new mediums and we are having lots of fun. Yes, let me get to the one that, okay, I had to move it because it was wet. So we're going to leave it here. All right. Well, y'all have a great rest of your week. And like I always say, keep it foxy. Peace.